Danny Gordon, how you doing?
Good. How you doing, Jeremy?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm super excited about today's podcast. Let me give 20-second little intro here. But on top of us being friends and business allies for a long time, for those of you that don't know who Danny Gordon is, uh, helped build Banker's Life, Cornerstone, iGroup, built his own captive agencies, and now you're president of Advisor Advantage Marketing. Um, and one of the big reasons, we'll talk a little bit about some of that stuff. One of the big reasons I wanted to have you on today is because of all the chaos in the world of Medicare. And I don't know anybody that is more connected and knowledgeable in that world than you. So anyway, that's my little intro for you. How you doing today? Everything good?
I'm doing great. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah. So let's do a little plug in here right off the bat. Um, President of Advisor Advantage Marketing, and I'll do one little plug here, and then I want to ask you a couple questions on AAM.
Sure.
I've been around the business for 18 years, and I've worked with a lot of different IMOs, from my agencies to my consulting. To me, one of the biggest things that separates AAM from other IMOs is that, first of all, the real truth of the matter is that most IMOs, if you've got a pulse and an insurance license, they'll take you. They'll take your override. They'll bring you on board, give you the kind of Reader's Digest version of what they can do for you, and they'll take your
hmm
business. When I first talked to you about what your visions were for AAM and building a boutique IMO, where you're really looking for not every Tom, Dick, and Harry in the world, but for like-minded individuals and agency owners, people that are trying to do it the right way and build agencies. I've
Yeah.
never heard that before. So let me just give you the mic for a second, but tell me, I guess in a nutshell, what do you think makes AAM different than other IMO options that are out there?
Well, Jeremy, I think one of the biggest differences is that our vision and our approach with dealing with agents and agencies, we really would like to focus on small agencies that want to grow or agents that want to build an agency. We know that growth is the name of the game, and now we love agents that like to produce. No question about that. But if you're looking to build something, we're a really good match for you. We have all the materials on how to start an agency, what you need to do. We have all the components of what you need, from back office support, like how do you set up licensing, commissions, what's your value prop. In fact, we use Jeremy's 10 pillars of agency building. And so we really think we can help you build something. Now, we do have what most IMOs offer as well. I mean, we have training on demand. We have videos. We have marketing, lead support. We have a lot of the same things that a lot of IMOs have, which I think is important too. But our focus and the fact that I've started an insurance company and four other companies, we're really good at building agencies. And I think that is a unique niche to be in.
Yeah, like in my experience, obviously agents are all different shapes and sizes with different goals. One of the things that I've always been mind boggled is when IMO, that stands for Independent Marketing Organization, and just about every single one of them have zero clue about marketing. They've all got third party entities that they may be able to give you access to that you could probably find on your own. But the big component, the big thing when I was building my agency that I was shocked when I came into the independent world was there was nobody to actually help me build my company the way I wanted to build it. I could call up an IMO. They could tell me anything I wanted to know about product, and they might have some third party marketing uh, options that I could use. But I never really understood. They never helped me with marketing itself. And most importantly, they weren't ever able to help me with all the fundamental growths of what are the steps that I have to take in order to recruit agents or build a structure or training or marketing obviously is one of them, but all those different pillars are things that doesn't matter if somebody wants to just be themselves and do more business out of their home, or they want to build a skyscraper full of downline agents working for them. It's really hard to find somebody that can lead you down that path, which, I'll just tell everybody, Danny's been a mentor to me in doing that through my agencies. And again, I'm about done with the plug stuff for this podcast, but I really do think that is where you shine, is being able to take somebody, whether they're small, big, if they're independent, if they want a downline or not, and helping them build a roadmap for how to get there.
Well, I appreciate that, Jeremy. We try to tailor our support, our strategy to the individual. And so depending on what you want to build, but I would tell you that marketing is one of the primary pieces of every agency. And the thing is I've had to go through 37 years of figuring out marketing. And we have come up with 6, 7 different marketing programs that any agent can use, that can develop, and doesn't cost you any money. And they're great marketing systems. I mean, really great marketing systems. So we can teach you how to fish, and that way you can eat the rest of your career. Now, do we have the vendors that sell leads? Sure we do. Do we have great programs in that area? We've got some really great lead programs. If you're willing to invest in your business, we can do that as well. But marketing support is one of the 2 big major components of building a successful agency or being a successful agent. You have to have a marketing plan. And so that's something that we can delve into more if you like.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you want to give the milk away. Do you want to we want to start by talking all about any of your free marketing programs, or do you want to keep those?
Sure. Yeah. A lot of you who are selling Medicare, you probably heard of the Walmart program that just came out, and it's ridiculous. I'm not recommending any of our agents or agencies to participate in the Walmart program. In fact, I would tell you that we have a program with independent pharmacies that do so much better. An independent pharmacist has to compete with Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, and they're trying to find an edge. And as a Medicare agent or Medicare specialist, you can really help that pharmacist. And we usually will approach a pharmacist and say, Mr. Pharmacist, is there a carrier that you like better than the rest? And of course, he knows which one pays him the most. And he'll say, yeah, I like ABC company. Well, what we tell him we'll do reviews with all your seniors. And if it doesn't harm the client, we'll recommend the ABC company that you like most. And he gets pretty excited about that. In fact, the pharmacist will set up appointments for the agent. I had an agent in a small town in Tennessee, a town of 12,000, and he wrote 600 MA plans during AEP in a small pharmacy.
All out of the pharmacy?
All out of the pharmacy. They booked appointments from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., and every 45 minutes they had all the scripts printed out, prescriptions printed out for him, and he'd just come in and do reviews all day long. It was a great program. So, but that's just one of the programs. We have so many. We have our HR program, which is really awesome. In fact, if I could take a second, Jeremy, I'll share this with you. When someone retires from a company and they don't usually get any help with Medicare planning or Social Security planning, they usually get told what their benefits are and, do you want spousal benefits on your retirement plan if there is even a pension offered. But what we do is we'll contact the HR director and say, hey, our company does free seminars on Social Security and Medicare planning. And I know you have people retiring every month. We'd be glad to do this free service for you. And, they look at it as an added benefit from the company to their employees who are retiring. And so I've got a guy that does this with AT&T. All he does is gets referrals. He gets he works about 20 hours a week. He gets 20 referrals a month. And let me tell you, he writes about 15 to 20 million in annuities. He writes a lot of Medicare, and he loves it. It's just a referral program. Yeah. So
Yeah. If you can get referral sources set up to take care of your marketing and put a zero in the marketing expense column, you're so far ahead of the rest of the pack.
everybody else. Exactly. Exactly.
So I was going to ask or go through the changes there with Walmart and what they laid out. And I know there's a lot of agents that'll watch this podcast that, Medicare Advantage that's their main business. They're accustomed to going and sitting in Walmart all day long, all through AP. That's got really expensive. It's got really hard to make that ROI. And I actually, as you know, I actually put a video out last week recommending to all my followers your lead program that you just came out with for Medicare Advantage. Why don't you, if you want, why don't you take 30 seconds or whatever and kind of explain that real quick, and then I want to jump into asking some questions that I know the Medicare world wants to know with all of the chaos that's
Okay.
going out there.
Oh, by the way, I do want to comment on the Walmarts. If you do get a Walmart, which I'm not a big fan of, but if you do, make sure that you get your booth in one of the high traffic areas, because if they put you in a bad area, you'll just be sitting there doing nothing. So you need the store manager to be on your side, and he needs to put you up front where traffic is.
And
But
you don't want to be in the Richie Rich neighborhood Walmart.
yes,
Your volume's
that's
going
right.
to go way down if you're on the west side of town where I live anyway, versus, the south or east side.
But let me share with you though another option. If you're willing to invest in your marketing, we have a great program actually. We can send you live transfers or inbound calls, and you could get 10 to 15 calls a day. And I would say if you're an average closer, you'll close 30%. So you'll close 2 to 3 sales a day. And you pay $125 per sale after you make the sale. So we don't charge you anything up front, but once you make the sale, we charge you $125. And that's it. And that sale belongs to you. That's your business, your book of business. You get the commissions, you'll get all the renewals, and you get all the cross-selling opportunities. So it's just very simple. You only pay if you make a sale. And I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's nothing out there. I mean, I've searched this stuff continually for my followers. There's no program I've seen where you're only paying for it. You can't lose. You're only paying for it if you make a sale. And, to me, one of my bigger things is you want to sit in Walmart, the entire AAP, or would you rather be sitting at your desk with your feet up on it, taking inbound calls? And I think another thing you forgot to mention there too is that a lot of these calls are people that are looking and searching this out. They're not outbound telemarketed calls that are getting transferred to you. These are people that are clicking on things online that they want more information, want to talk to somebody about this. So the quality of lead is way higher than I think what most Medicare Advantage leads that are out there.
Yes, and when they click the button, they go to a screener. And so before you even get them, they've already been screened that they're on Medicare, they have a Medicare number, and that they're interested in talking to someone. That's why we have such a high close rate.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'm going to open a conversation up with you with a big question. What in the hell is going on with the world of Medicare? I mean, it just seems like it's in constant chaos, and that fire just gets bigger and bigger. It seems like almost every other day there's news coming out about, plans going away, becoming non-commissionable, lawsuits right and left. Maybe it's too big of a question. I can narrow this down, but in general, what's with all the chaos and where is it headed?
Well, I think that let me start with this thought. I mean, these carriers are in the business to make money. So let's always remember it's bottom line profits. So when CMS changes the rules on them, like the Inflation Reduction Act, and they capped the out-of-pocket for prescription drugs to $2,000, well, that put a hurt on the insurance company, a serious hurt. And so all of a sudden, they have to make up for lost revenue. And now that started a chain reaction to, okay, we're spending more money for prescriptions, and then they start analyzing which group of people do we lose the most money on. And now carriers are saying, okay, we're going to cut the plans that are not profitable. Now, they can't just cut them, so they do what they can do, and they can just make them non-commissionable, because they know that if they make it non-commissionable, an agent won't sell it. Even though it might be the best plan for that individual, an agent won't sell it. Now, to me, Jeremy, that's steering, which is against CMS rules. I mean, everything that CMS puts out, we're not to steer clients to specific products, but yet a carrier is forcing agents to steer product, because it would be unreasonable to say, well, Jeremy, you should work all AEP and not get paid a single penny. That would be unreasonable, and it would be unfair to the agent. So the fact is that these carriers have found a way to stop the bleed, but really at the customer's expense. Now, a lot of announcements about PDP plans. WellCare stopped paying commission on the PDP plans. I know some groups that lost millions of dollars of renewals. Now you've got all these other carriers following suit. If you're selling a med sup, what are you going to do? Are you going to spend the time to do a PDP plan, or are you going to just send them to cms.gov? Tough decision. I've got some recommendations on what to do, but I think that these carriers are putting the agent in a very, very tough spot.
Well, and so two things there. I mean, and I'm not the expert here, so you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but to me, the biggest culprit is not the insurance carriers. I mean, most of the profit loss statements from these insurance carriers is 100+% in a lot of cases. The government, when they did the Inflation Reduction Act, not only did they drop the copay from $8,000 to $2,000, but they also, started giving less money for these carriers to go into networks and set the networks up. So then what happens is networks aren't there, so the carriers pull out. The ones that stay are all of a sudden stuck with taking all of that fallout of those clients no longer have a plan.
Right.
Then they're overwhelmed. Now they're in jeopardy of their star rating going down and getting less money from the government. We have this cycle that, the government, CMS, has really started this, that I don't see how it stops. I mean, how does this cycle end?
Well, I wish I had a great answer for you. But what we're seeing now is we are seeing a lot of Medicare Advantage clients move to Medicare supplement plans. But that's not a great solution, because now states are talking about making the birthday rule in all states, where someone can change Medicare supplement plans without any underwriting. Now, the article I read said that if this happens, MedSup premiums will go up 30, 40, 50% overnight.
Well, they already are skyrocketing right now because of the influx of the Medicare Advantage world that's already going over there. They get guaranteed issue. Now they've got all these sick people inside their groups, and those prices are already going through the roof. So, yeah, that's exactly a great question I had on there. Like, what do you see them doing just on the Medicare supplement side to stop this avalanche? They can't just continue to take rates through the roof nonstop, I wouldn't think, forever.
Well, they can raise rates. I've seen rates for people, $1,500 a month. I mean, they can raise them as high as they want based on loss ratios. And so eventually what will happen is all the healthy people will move out of a group and those premiums would just continue to go up and up for those who can't move. Now, but if the states allow the birthday rule where people can change on their birthday without underwriting, well, now who knows? I mean, you've got all this risk that can move around. Carriers are not going to be excited about it. I see that a lot of med sub companies will pull out. It's just my opinion. We already saw one company pull out. I think that some of these companies are going to say, we don't like the risk anymore and we're going to close shop. So
Do you see, is it possible to have two categories where there's, all right, your guaranteed issue for this plan, but if you're able, here's an underwritten option so that the
possibly,
prices can.
yeah, you could qualify for a better preferred rate if you do underwriting versus using the birthday rule. That could be a possible option.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
I'm with you too. Like all you ever hear with CMS is all about this steering stuff, and they're allowing this chaos to happen from these, not giving them money, like we talked about. Then some pull out, the other ones, have to eat the dirt of that. You get plans that are non-commissionable. Aren't they forcing agents to steer? I mean, of course they're going to sell the policies and the plans that they get paid on.
Yeah, but what about if a carrier says we're not going to pay any renewals on these plans? So, not that we're not going to pay commissions because that's moving forward, but what about if on these plans they start saying we're not going to pay renewals? Now, what are you going to do? Let's say you got 300 clients on a carrier plan that now you find out next year they're not going to pay renewals. What are you going to
Yeah.
do?
Yeah. I mean, it's just a constant state of flux,
It is.
You know, a little side note, I'm not sure where to fit this in, but I recently heard that I was talking at a convention and I heard that there's a lot of agents that what they're doing now is their plan anyway is to literally just take their clients, put them in the Medicare center and say, you go figure it out on your own now. Uh, but then the question becomes, and I'll ask you this, I don't know if you know the answer to this, they're still on the hook, right? Responsibility wise, does their E&O even cover that if something goes wrong in that scenario?
Well, if it's a client that's assigned to them, they're liable. So I don't know if I would ever recommend a client to just jump on Medicare Center and enroll themselves, but I'm sure somebody's going to come up with a self enrollment tool that'll help seniors do it by themselves because there's not a whole lot of money maybe left in this business. Which this is what I would recommend to if you're a Medicare agent and you're only selling Medicare. I'm going to recommend that you start learning how to sell other products because right now you're just peddling product. Now, I don't want to be real negative, but if you sell one product and that's it, and you don't go back and talk to your client but once a year about the same product, you're peddling. I would recommend that you become an advisor. An advisor means that you have other products like annuities, long-term care, ancillary products, life insurance. I mean, if you were to do other products, then what you made on the Medicare could be a loss leader, or it could be minimal. It doesn't matter because you're going to make 10 times more money selling these other products. I mean, I share a quick story. I was helping an agent in Spartanburg, South Carolina, and it was a $5 med sup lead for Blue Cross Blue Shield. We went in, and just to fast forward, I sold 2 long-term care plans. I sold a life insurance policy. I sold 2 med subs. I sold 1.2 million of annuities, and I moved 1.8 million into managed money. And over the last 10, 11 years, we've collected over 300,000 in commissions. Now that's how you do it.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a common thread to my YouTube channel, it is exactly what you're talking about. for some reason, some 70-80% of all the licensed or life and health insurance agents in the country, they normally, it's probably from where they start at, but they're brought into the business to go sell final expense, or they're brought in the business to go sell Medicare of some kind. And then they really kind of, to use your terminology, become product pushers, that their game all year long is to get as many leads and deals as they can in that field, in that line. But this is like all business, it's ever changing.
It
And
is.
living and dying in the Medicare world right now by itself, it's a risky venture. And, so my whole channel, honestly, is it's just all about, learning to do a complete fact finder and getting educated to be able to cross sell these other products, which most people think is a mountain of education that you have to learn. And to be honest, I personally could train and do train agents in a matter of a day to be able to sell life or long-term care annuities. Long-term care might be more than one day, but it's not a lot. It's not a mountain. It's really just a hill to set your business up, for a lifetime, regardless of what happens with Medicare Advantage laws.
And Jeremy, that's one of the things that attracted me to you, was that the way you saw this business, we are really aligned well in that we believe people should be advisors. They should not be just product pushers or lead junkies, because that'll get old and it'll get harder as time goes on. But you have some great materials on your website. You've got some great training. So if you've not looked at Jeremy's academy, you should look at some of his videos. They're really good.
Well, I appreciate that. It just is. I mean, obviously, for the last 10 or 15 years, since Medicare Advantage has really started to become a big thing, it's been doable to just focus on that and just plow through and that be your business. But
And you can make a lot just doing that too. Yeah.
I think that in the next 2 or 3 years, that the agents and agencies that don't evolve to being able to cross sell are probably going to be in a different industry, just on the trajectory of where this whole industry is going if they're not learning to cross sell.
And let me tell you that not only Medicare is being impacted, ACA, a lot of them are scrambling, trying to figure out what to do when the administration changes some of the rules for open enrollment. They're starting to cross sell other products because they know they have to, or they'll die. And so ACA is being impacted, Medicare is being impacted. Governmental risk is a big issue, and you cannot just ignore it. And so you either are going to plan for the change, or you're going to be a victim of the change. And that would be sad if you became a victim of the change.
Well, so back to our previous little conversation, one of the questions I wanted to ask you is, like, there's a major lawsuit going on right now with eHealth, GoHealth, SelectQuote, plus a lot of insurance carriers. And it's about steering,
Yes.
is what it's about.
Yeah.
What is that lawsuit? What do you think that means for the industry in general? Or does it mean anything?
Well, I find it a little hypocritical, I think, in that CMS is saying, well, hey, we caught these 3 insurance companies and these big agencies for steering, and yet they allow the carriers to do what they're doing now, which is steering. But yeah, the fact is that these the 3 insurance companies, I believe, were Humana, Anthem, and Aetna, and then you had the top 3 call centers. The carriers were steering these call centers to enroll certain type of person, and a certain type of person that would be less expensive to them, and so they would get bonuses. You're not allowed to do that. You're not supposed to pick based on health or how much health needs you're going to have. But you know what? They were doing it. And so if you're truly going to say we don't want to steer clients, we want to offer the best product, well, then that should be true across the board. And that should be true with the carriers. And the fact that they're doing what they're doing, cutting products, making them non-commissionable a week before they announce it, that's just wrong. So They should take a quick look at what the carriers are doing and go after them, because they're creating a bad situation for the client and the agent.
You think of CMS, which I think might be the largest government agency. I'm not sure, but it's a big agency.
It's a
It
big
feels like
agency.
I feel like nobody has a clue about the industry itself. Like I read recently, MedPAC, who is a small little board that CMS uses for their education on making new laws and rules. And I read that they interviewed a total of 17 call center agents to get an understanding of the industry before CMS made their recommendations for 2025. You know, there's a lot of people that think that, you know, most of the complaints that come from a Medicare Advantage world come from call centers. And yet it seems after that MedPAC document, it seems like CMS doesn't really understand the difference between a call center and field agents. How's that possible? I mean,
Well,
how's that
yeah,
possible?
it shouldn't be that they wouldn't understand the difference, but uh, it's the government. Look, unfortunately, I'm not a big supporter of government efficiency. I've never seen it. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oxymoron.
it is an oxymoron. Government efficiency is crazy. You've got people making decisions that have never sold anything, never marketed anything. You've got people that are making decisions that never ran a business, and they come up with ideas they think are great ideas, but they don't realize the consequences. And so, and then when they realize, oops, we made a mistake, then they go back and try to backtrack something or change something else that might give us some leeway. But yeah, it's a tough deal with dealing with the government, and when they're paying for everything, they get to make all the decisions.
So here's another question for you, Danny, that I don't know really where it fits into all this stuff. It's something I definitely wanted to make sure I asked you. And I may be burning you here. I don't know. But it is all over LinkedIn and social media where agents are discussing right now and insinuating that on these non-commissionable plans that are out there right and left now, that the IMOs are still getting their cut. They're still getting their marketing kickbacks. Is that true?
I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that is not true.
Okay.
If an agent doesn't get paid, no one gets paid.
Okay. All
So,
right. Well, that doesn't really plug into any of my questioning, but I've seen that everywhere. That you know how it is when things start going ugly. That's kind of when conspiracy stories
come
go
up. Yeah.
wild. And I thought that might be a good one to get the record straight on. All right, Danny. So here is, maybe this is to me one of the most important questions I wanted to ask you. I know that behind the scenes, big FMOs like Integrity, they're doing stuff to help us and protect us, behind the curtains, and we probably can't see all that they're doing. But it just seems to me that, it, like I said earlier, there is just constant rules and regulation coming down on the agents. There's constant flux. Plans are going non-commissional. They're leaving. All this turmoil. Why are the IMOs, who are kind of supposed to be the agent's protector, advisor, protector, whatever you want to call it, why are IMOs not banding together to form an alliance and protect the agents from CMS and the government with all of these different factors that are directly affecting their business?
Well, they are actually. I mean, last year, Integrity and AmeriLife both sued CMS on the final ruling, and they got things put on hold. And then with the new administration, those things went away. So let me just share this thought. When carriers change commissions and make it harder on the agent, you can bet the IMOs being affected. So we all know this. If the agent doesn't win, we don't win. And so Integrity, AmeriLife, they all have lobbyists. They're all going to talk to senators, the Senate Oversight Committee. They're all lobbying for the things that will help the agent. Now, you don't see it and you probably don't hear about it, but I know that they are doing that. And thank goodness a couple of years ago or just a little over a year ago when Integrity and AmeriLife sued CMS, that was a big, big benefit to us. It was huge. And so, because those two in particular have the most to lose if this all comes crumbling down. And so, know that they are on your side, and thank goodness they've got some money to hire lobbyists and to do the things they're doing on the government side.
Do you see any antitrust lawsuits coming down the pipe?
We still have 3 or 4 big players out there, probably not yet. Now, if 2 of these 4 were to join, now we could have a problem, yes. But right now, we still have really 4 major competitors out there, and they're still. So the government's probably not going to get involved yet. Yeah.
All right. So we'll get off the legal beagle talk and wrap up with a big question. There's a lot of people probably watching this that are living and dying in the Medicare world. We both agree that the number one answer, if I had 30 seconds to tell them what to do next, it's start being able to cross sell. But with all of the flux, all the things that's going on, the world we live in right now, in the Medicare world, what would your advice be, aside from cross-selling to, somebody that's an agent working out of their home, they're just trying to grow their practice, with all these moving parts? What would your advice be to tell them that they need to start doing or adding or changing in their practice right now?
Well, first, I would make sure that you have the right partner helping you. Because I know every agent's got some IMO or FMO, GA that they work with. And I want you to do a fair evaluation. Are they helping you build your business? Are they helping you plan for the future? Are they doing the things that they ought to be doing? So that's the first thing. If they're not, you should look for a better partner. And I look at it as a partnership. Every FMO group or agency I work with, we're partners, because if they don't win, I don't win. And so I want you to think about that. Second, when you start looking at your client list, I want you to be honest with yourself. How many of them have more than one product? And I'm going to bet the majority of them are probably one product customers. Then I would start looking at how you would divide them out and how you would approach looking at which ones might be good life prospects, long-term care prospects, annuity prospects, because that cross-selling is something you're going to have to do. So, period. And then I think most of you probably have enough clients that you really don't need leads. You probably have 400 or 500 clients. You probably have enough clients that you can live the rest of your life and just sell other products. You don't need thousands. That's too hard to manage anyway. Most successful advisors have 400 to 500 customers, and that's it. But I would start looking at how you're going to diversify your business, and you're going to have to figure that out.
Well, I'll close up and say, I've referred a handful of agencies over to AAM over the last few months and got feedback that was really cool. I knew this, they didn't know this, but talk to me about how they're having weekly conversations with you, with higher ups, not about products, but about literally like acting, like you said, as a partner of figuring out where they want to go and helping them devise a roadmap, whether that be improving their marketing systems, recruiting systems, developing systems that aren't even there, and really helping them like almost a mentor, that's in their business. And I'll just put
Yes.
this for my last little plug. If you're not getting that currently, just know that there are options out there that you can receive that.
I appreciate that. In fact, I feel it's a responsibility of the old guard to train up the younger.
It should be.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I believe that. I do that at church. I do that in my men's group, and I do that in my business. I believe in mentoring the younger generation to prepare them. And sometimes in our meetings, Jeremy, we don't even talk about business. We talk about personal growth and challenges. And because if you're not growing personally, you're probably going to have a hard time growing professionally. And so I look at the whole package, actually.
Well, Danny, I love you for coming on and spending some time with me today.
Oh, you're
Hopefully, I
welcome.
can have you back again another time. But there's nobody I know more capable of answering those deep questions about where the Medicare world is going than you. And so I just want to say thank you for your time. And it was fun chatting with you today.
Well, thank you, Jeremy. I'd be glad to come back on anytime, and I appreciate all the work you do.
I'm going to hold you to that. See you, buddy.